What's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic here, coming at you with some more USBL playoff action here as we're getting ready to hopefully wrap up some of these division series games between the final 8 teams that will be competing for the USBL World Series Championship. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. So it's going to be a great episode. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you have to be brand new to the channel as well. If you enjoy that MLB The Show content, we'll officially go ahead and get things underway here as we jump into game number 3 between the Philadelphia Patriots and the Aurora Lightning. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. hits an absolute moon rocket out into left field, and Philadelphia takes an early 2-0 lead here as we go ahead and jump into the top of the 4th inning. And George Springer also with that nice little golf swing, able to swing that one for the fences, gets another solo shot. So Philadelphia takes an early 3-0 lead here, but this upstart Aurora team, champions of the NL Central, they might have something to say here. Key game 3. Whoever wins game 3 of these division series usually do end up moving on to the championship series. This is both on the American League side and on the National League side as well. So definitely some big games here to start this episode, as that's going to get Aurora on the board in a massive way, as that is a solo shot into right field, and it is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Dominic Smith with his first home run of the postseason, and it's going to make this thing a 3-1 game, as now there might be some more runs because Bryce Harper, he mishandles it. George Springer got to come from center field in order to field that baseball, but it does make it a 3-2 game. Jameson Taillon gonna get a visit from the manager though, just to see how he's doing, how he's going to be holding up right now, as it is a 1-run deficit for Aurora. A chance to tie, and Corey Dickerson is going to be able to take it. A base hit right up the gut, and this game is all tied up at 3 apiece. But a back and forth affair for sure, because we do not see any more runs until all the way in the 12th inning. And we'll go ahead and jump there right now as Travis Lincoln Sr. comes to the game, but coming in a really sticky spot right now. I mean, got bases loaded, nobody out right now, and this ball hit really weak, but even though it doesn't drop, it does just barely be long enough in order to come down and make this a 4-3 game. So Philadelphia, they do have the lead once again. Runner does get from third to home, so a nice little sacrifice fly opportunity there. But there is still only one out in this inning, and Steve Cishek is going to come in. He's had one appearance so far, but to be honest with you, he's been absolutely hot trash so far. He's not been that guy. 81 ERA. Definitely been a rough postseason for him so far. As Adam Oliver is going to come into the plate. He's 1 for 5 in this game. 1 for 12 in the whole series. So definitely on a little bit of a cold streak right now. But that being said, Oliver comes up in a big way. Gets that insurance run in potentially, as that is going to be 1 run. Are they going to try for 2? No. But it's going to make it a 5-3 game. And guys, that's going to end up being the final score here in the first place. Philadelphia does indeed end up winning game number 2. Or not game number 2, game number 3. And they will take a 2-1 lead in this series. They're now just 1 win away from moving on to the NLCS, for realizing what they did in season number 1, getting swept in the NLDS last year. They're trying to make up for that. As we jump in quickly to another game 3 with massive implications. San Francisco and Los Angeles facing the face up against each other, and we got a great matchup on the mound. Lucas Giovito against Frambar Valdez. Now Valdez is making his first start of the postseason, but we're seeing some great pitching action. Jumping into the 6th inning, there still is no score yet, and we might be seeing the first blink as Lucas Giovito gives up a big hit out into right center field. Now thankfully Seth Beer is not the fastest guy on the face of the planet, only 38 speed. But that being said, there is a runner in scoring position. Even with one out, action is forced at first base, and that's how the first run of game number 3 ends up getting across. A 1-0 lead nonetheless, and they still have a chance to add on here. Ozzie Albies comes in, having a tough little series though, 2 for 10 so far in the NLDS, but this really helps the cause, as that's going to be hit in the right field. Is it a fair ball? Yes, it is. It is indeed a fair ball, and Ozzie Albies ends up with a free 78-footer, and San Francisco does end up taking a little 2-0 lead. And Lucas Giovito's day is done after the 6th inning. So, new pitcher on the mound for Los Angeles. This is Nick Goody, who doesn't get a lot of help. Could have been the first out of the inning, but was misplayed. And instead, 2 runners in scoring position, even with the sacrifice fly out into center field. Runners are going to advance. Almost got that runner at third base, though. And it's now a 3-0 lead. Nice job by Josh Donaldson, who is batting in the 6th hole for today's game. He is going to, get the sacrifice fly there, as we do end up seeing, we almost had it out at the plate. Oh, that was so close. He was right there, just couldn't get that glove around fast enough. And 4-0 lead here as Seth Beer takes a nice little cut at that little slider in the lower corner of the plate, but going to be a strikeout nonetheless. But San Francisco looking good so far. They're going to be up 4-0 as LA needs to get their bats going. We'll see if Mike Yastrzemski can get them going, as that's a nice hit out, and the center fielder falls down. So now, runner moving to third base. Are we going to see the first run? Yes, we will. And LA gets themselves on the board. 4-1 game. And a 3-run deficit still. And so, San Francisco, they go to the bullpen. Frambar and Valdez did a really good job, but it's Ernest Cabrera's time. And Cabrera, low-key, is a bad man. He gets that strikeout. Gives the strikeout swinging for sure. We'll see if he can get the same thing for Patrick Dwyer. Though that is end up going to be a nice little base hit. Does force the action. But Ernest Cabrera could not get the hold at the end of the day. But no more runs will end up scoring. It does end up being a 4-2 game. We'll see if LA can rally here. Got 2 runs down, and you got 6 outs to do it. So definitely not impossible, but it's also not an ideal situation, especially in a game like this where it's more predicated on the pitching, So, it is what it is. But Freddie Freeman, he's at the plate trying to give them some more hope, as Freddie Freeman gives this one a charge out in the center field, and it is gonna be gone. Home run for Freddie Freeman. First one of the playoffs. And it's now just a 1-run game, as Kyle Lewis, he's going to end up striking out swinging. It does become a 1-run game. And we'll see if Patrick Dwyer can help finish the comeback. Can they finish the rally? No, it doesn't look like. Going to be a pop out right to the catcher. And that's how this game is going to end. San Francisco does end up winning game number 3 in this one. They will win by a final score of 4-3. So definitely a really competitive game. Can't be mad at it whatsoever. And yeah, San Francisco, up 2-1, 1 game away from returning back to the NLCS. We'll see what happens there. But first, we're going to check in on a really interesting situation, right? Chicago and Boston are going up against each other right now. And Chicago, the defending champions, they are certainly on the ropes right now, right? It is been a very entertaining series. But Boston, 1 win away from eliminating the defending champs. And if Chicago loses this game, their season is over. So definitely a lot on the line here for Chicago, and they're coming out hot. Top of the 2nd, Chris Taylor hits a home run in the left field, helps provide that 2-0 lead. But Dan Winkler having a tough time as well. Bottom of the 4th, Boston starting to get their first serious threat on base. It's a double that ends up reaching the left field wall as well. So a runner on second base, Paul DeJong, with a chance to tie this game up at 2 apiece as Paul DeJong gets a charge, and it's gone! Paul DeJong with a 2-run shot, and this game is all knotted up at 2 apiece now. Tie ball game, make it a 3-2 lead. And so I didn't realize this was a Drake song because they go back to back with the home runs. Edwin Rios with his second home run of the ALDS series. And Boston ends up taking a 3-2 lead, man. And Dan Winker is going to be pulled out. And I completely understand, Dan Winker just did not have it. And this is a game that has the season on the line. You do not want to take anything to chance whatsoever. But the Chicago Freeze, after 4 innings, they're on the ropes. Down 3-2 right now. Need a response from the Chicago offense. A vaunted offense that carried them to the World Series back in year 1. Chris Taylor hits this one out into left field. Is it a fair ball? And it is a fair ball. So another home run for Chris Taylor. Second home run of the series. And all of a sudden this game knotted up at 3 apiece. We'll see if Nick Pavetta can step up in this inning. But Jonathan Villar, the acquisition from the Phoenix Firebirds, he sends a shot of his own and it's gone. First home run of the series. And it's a big one. Gives them a 4-3 lead. Robert Puason, he's going to hit this one out in the right center field. This could carry out of the ballpark too. And Joey Gallo cannot catch up to it. It's out of the fence line. And the former top prospect also hitting a nice home run. Makes it 5-3. As Paul DeJong, he hits one in the center field. This is another home run. 3 home runs in 1 hitting. They are bringing the power today. As Paul DeJong hits 3 home runs in this series. Boston really pulling away, so they got to go to the bullpen again. It's Ian Kennedy looking to clean things up against Jake Marinowski. He takes a nice big cut at that baseball, but it's going to be a strikeout. It does end the 5th inning, but a massive response from the Boston Quakers, none of the less, as it's a 7-3 lead enjoyed by Boston, potentially just a few innings away from being the first team in the USBL to move on to the championship series level, right? So they are right there, got that 4-run lead. We'll see if they can go ahead and finish strong here. As now, Poisson, he's going to go ahead, take a big cut, and he's going to strike out. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. And that will go ahead and bring up Mookie Betts. He grounded out back in the 5th inning. As Mookie Betts, he's getting ready to go. Looking nice and good. Hitting really well this postseason. Batting .545 still, even despite the fact that he is 0 for 3 in this game. He's been having a lot of at-bats. Haven't done anything with it yet. As Mookie getting ready to receive the fresh count from Ian Kennedy. As Mookie Betts hits this one in the center field. Should bring in 1 run, as it was indeed a base hit. And Mookie Betts gets his first hit of the game. Also, his first RBI of the game. As Boston Quakers take an 8-3 lead. But can they add to it? Max Muncy looking to do the same, and that's a shot. Oh my, look at that shot in the right center field, and it is going to be gone. Another home run for Boston. 11-3. You cannot make this up. Chicago in desperate need to win this game in order to continue the series, and they're coming out flat, man. I don't know what's going on. Just maybe this is not the year, and it just shows how hard it is to create a dynasty in baseball. There's just so many variables when you have a 25-man roster, and it's truly a team game too. In football, you can have a quarterback or a star player, maybe carry your team a little bit. Basketball, definitely star-driven, but in baseball, you need more than just one guy. You need a full team to win a World Series. You cannot have many weaknesses on your roster. and maybe we're seeing that right now, is about, maybe Chicago can be a potential dynasty, but unless they can somehow make up an 8-run deficit in the next 3 innings here, this game is barbecue chicken. Not only the game, but also the series as well, as we do end up seeing a home run from Kyle Seager. Is now Andrelton Simmons looking to try to add on to the run count for Chicago, but just going to ground out to the third baseman, and that's going to end the top of the 7th inning. So, that being said, top of the 7th doesn't end well for him, and Jesse Biddle with a chance to close out this game in the top of the 9th, and an opportunity to send Boston to the ALCS, the first team to punch their ticket. Stallings hits it down the left-hand line, and it does end up being kept in the infield, and Jacob Stallings is simply not fast enough, and the Boston Quakers are going to be the first team to go to the championship series, sweeping the Chicago Freeze, the defending World Series champions, and it's going to be confirmed now. You saw the title of this video. You saw that maybe something could happen here. But that being said, it's going to be confirmed. We will see a new champion of the USBL. There will not be a repeat. And Boston sweeps Chicago. They win 3-0, and they will be awaiting the winner of the Minnesota versus Honolulu series. And speaking of that series, we'll go ahead and jump into that right now. Game number 3. This is another series that did end up being tied going into this episode. Definitely been some more competitive playoff action. Last season number 1, we saw a lot more of sweeps happening in the in the playoffs, and this year hasn't necessarily happened that way. Been a more competitive series across the board, something that I certainly appreciate, for a competitive standpoint. But this is a big game. If Honolulu can steal at least one of these 2 games in this episode, not only do they keep the series going, obviously, but game number 5 is in Honolulu. And, there's something about having home field advantage, for that game 5, that series clinching opportunity, that really helps take a team over the top. So, we'll see if Minnesota is ready for it, if they can go ahead and win both games here in, Minnesota, so that we don't see this extended to a game 5. They don't even have to worry about it, But with that being said, it's not looking good early on. Down 2-0. They got Eloy Jimenez at the plate. And Jimenez is a bad man. That whole 3-4-5, that is simply a gauntlet from Honolulu. As we're going to see potentially 2 runs scoring here. And it's now a 4-0 lead for the Islanders. Looking good early in that green and teal. Is now Anthony Russo at the plate. 0-2 count, but Russo, he was looking for the fastball, and Luis Castillo gets him to strike out on the changeup. But Emmanuel Clase is going to be brought into the game. His 3rd postseason appearance. They've been calling on him quite a bit in their postseason run. But right now, we're looking at a 4-0 lead as we see somebody starting in the 3rd, and it's going to be safe. It will end up being safe there. So, that being said, runners on the corner. Here comes Matt Chapman, the former Denver Bald Eagle, coming over in Season 1 as part of the USBL Trade Day. Bases loaded. 1 out. Here comes the pitch from Clase. Down in the right field. It's going to be deep enough, it looks like, to bring in at least run. But Matt Chapman will be called out. It's the 2nd out of the inning, but he does his job. Make sure a run gets home, and Hawaii adds on to the lead. It's a 5-0 affair officially. As now we go ahead, top of the 5th still. As we're looking around, guys, getting set and getting ready to go. We're looking at Gustavo Severino, 0-2 so far in this game. A 222 batting average throughout the course of the series as a 2-1 count. Down the left field line, and that's going to add on to more runs for the Islanders. At least 1 scores, 6-0. Runners now sitting at 2nd and 3rd, and while they do end up getting a little bit stranded there, we will end up seeing a 6-run lead in Minnesota, desperate need of a response. Sonny Gray, he's been feeling himself all day today, but this could be trouble. Mitch Heineker left center field, and it is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Stop me if you heard that before, folks. We're getting a lot of home runs in this, not only in this episode, but the last episode. But hey, who does not like a little bit of offensive baseball, am I right? So forgive me if I get a little bit excited and maybe blast your eardrums just a little bit. But Minnesota does get on the board for the very first time today, and it's now a 6-1 lead for Hawaii. But we'll go ahead and jump into the top of the 8th inning. Castro, with runners on first and second, a chance to extend the lead, and a weak grounder. But because there was a shift, Tatis could not get there. Almost getting the runner at home, though. But Hawaii gets yet another run. It makes it 7-1. So, Mitch Heineker, he's back. Back at it again with the white Vans, the white Nike swoosh. And looking to try to help his team get back into this game as Mitch Heineker gets another really great hit on the baseball. Gonna probably be a double, as he will end up sliding in there into second base. So a 7-1 lead here, trying to make a little bit of a comeback here, as Fad Gonzalez 0 for 3 on the day. He's gonna get his first hit as well. That gets past the first baseman, Anthony Russo, as that provides the second run of the game for Minnesota. It is now a 5-run game, as Tatis at the plate 0 for 3 as well, and that's a big hit for Tatis, and Minnesota gonna be right back into the game. They needed that from their star player, and they are going to get it for sure. And now 7-5. Honolulu gonna call in Tyler Rogers to go about trying to clean things up a little bit. Ramon Laureano, acquired from the New York Knights through free agency, cannot continue the inning though, and that is going to end up ending the bottom of the 8th. It's a 2-run game, and Honolulu could not necessarily score in the 9th inning, I would say. So that does end up meaning that Anthony Russo gonna come in, possibly add things up a little bit here. We'll see what ends up happening here, but Anthony Russo does get the double, and they have a chance to get an insurance run. You cannot ask for anything more other than that. Got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. We'll see if Matt Chapman can bring him home. Can't be a sacrifice fly though, and I don't think they have to worry about this being an out, because that is going to end up leaving the ballpark. I'm surprised there wasn't a diving attempt made, to be honest with you guys, but Hawaii does get those 2 insurance runs, and that does also end up meaning that Hawaii is going to end up winning this game. They will end up winning by a final score of 9-5, and the Islanders do end up winning game number 3. So they got a 2-1 lead to work with, and they also need one more run, or one more game, in order to play Boston in the ALCS. But jumping back to the National League, as we have a potential clinch opportunity here. Game number 4's getting going here. So got 3 more games left before the end of this episode. We'll have the Philadelphia Patriots taking on the Aurora Lightning, as Philadelphia looks to finish them off once and for all and clinch a trip to the NLCS. Jumping in, top of the first inning, Will Castro, first batter of the entire game, and that's going to be a wall shot, not going to leave the ballpark, but it is still a double nonetheless. So, what are we, the first pitch for Austin Gomber? Not going too well, my guy. Third pitch, not much better. Adam Oliver takes a charge into this ball, does not end up being an out. So, 2-run shot for Adam Oliver makes it a 2-0 game already. Continuing, the top of the first inning. They're still not done yet. They are still not done yet whatsoever. Definitely getting a lot of pitches on Austin Gomber early. This is not a great pitching rotation yet. They're still waiting for George Alberto Hernandez, the #1 pick from season #1, to come up to join the USBL team. He's chilling in AAA and did not make the 40-man roster, surprisingly. So we won't be seeing him at least this season, but maybe we'll see him in year number 3. Who knows? But not helping out much right now. The Aurora Lightning gotta do what they can without him, and that will certainly help. Bottom of the 5th, Zach Collins does end up hitting a nice little home run, and it is a 2-2 game all. As now, still in the bottom of the 5th, Anthony Rendon with a chance to take the lead for the first time. Oh, does not leave the ballpark though, and Rendon's gonna be able to get to second base. And even though he will end up getting stranded there, still a really nice hit, none of the less. But now, top of the 7th inning, Justin Upton coming to the plate, 0 for 2, but he has hit really well in the first few games, and that's going to continue here as Upton getting a huge hit in left field, and that gives Philadelphia the lead, and now just a handful of outs away from going to the NLCS. Springer getting settled in, 2 for 3 on the day, 1-0 count, and that's going to be gone. Oh, how about that moonshot? No doubter. Nobody even moves. And George Springer with another home run. He has been tearing up the Aurora pitching staff. And Philadelphia does end up extending their lead as DJ LeMahieu, he's going to hit this one out in the right field, but it is hit right to an outfielder. It does end that top of the 8th inning. Does make it a 2-run game at the very least, but that being said, here comes Greg Holland. He makes yet another appearance now. This is a 36-year-old that did not see any run in the regular season. They brought him up for the postseason, surprisingly. A really strange move, but I mean, I'm not going to tell what these teams want to do. I'm just out here being your local neighborhood commentator. And another 2-run shot. Sean Murphy and some insurance, and that's going to seal it. That 6-2 lead, it does end up holding, and Philadelphia wins game number 4. So that does also mean at the same time that we will end up seeing the Philadelphia Patriots punching their ticket as well, and they will be moving on to the NLCS. They had the number 1 seed last year. They were swept by San Francisco in the DS series, so it was a huge disappointment, and they get over that hurdle none of the less, and they will face off against the winner of the San Francisco and LA Saints series and a clinching opportunity as well. San Francisco looking to win game number 4 on the road in order to move on to the NLCS and take on the Philadelphia Patriots. On the mound, we got Spencer Turnbull going up against Logan Webb, a youngster, only his 2nd year up at the big leagues. So definitely a big spot for the youngster. We'll see what Logan Webb has in him. Let's see if he has the sauce. Bottom of the 2nd, Kyle Lewis up at the plate as that's hitting the center field as it has the distance. Yes, it does. And the LA Saints are not done yet. They're not going to give up that easily. And the LA Saints get on the board first, 1-0 lead. But Logan Webb able to settle it down, only allowing that 1 run in the 2nd inning. As we jump into the top of the 3rd now, Rendon Grushek looking to get that goose egg off the board for San Francisco. As Grushek hits this one in the right center field, might end up in the ballpark, but no, it barely gets over the wall. And Grushek, first home run of the series, coming in a big time, a potential clincher, as it's a 1-1 game right now. Definitely a really competitive series, and it's reflected in this game as well. Been a really competitive game. No one really able to get that much distance, between either of the teams, actually. So this series, even though San Francisco does have a 2-1 lead right now, it still could very well go in either direction. Nothing is all set in stone. But of course, if the Seals win game 4, then none of that matters, of course. I would love to see a game 5 between these two teams. Just, we'll see if LA can get over that hump against San Francisco. And right now, winning game number 4, looking pretty darn good so far. Up 2-1 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. As now, Freddie Freeman at the plate. He's going to get a charge into this ball as well. And that is going to actually leave the ballpark. I actually wasn't sure if that was going to be a home run or not. And it does end up being a home run. I've not been a home run in every park in the USBL. But when you're in the ballpark, you know, both teams have to deal with it. So, hey, it is what it is. And Logan Webb gets his 3rd strikeout. We'll see if he can get out of this inning. And no, he actually does not. Going to see a steal from Trevor Story, but at the same time, he ends up getting stranded there at second base. So it does end up being a 4-1 lead, as LA is actually trying to pull away here in the bottom of the 4th already. You know, definitely a little bit surprising considering San Francisco has this prolific offense and not really seeing it as of yet. Alejandro Kirk, he's going to hit a little flare out there as it barely gets between the shortstop and the center fielder. It ends up bringing in yet another run as well. So a 5-1 lead for the Saints is now Cesar Mora. He's going to get a hold of this one. That's going to get out into left center field, and that's a big hit. That makes it all the way out to the wall. And from first base, a runner is going to score, and that is going to be a triple for Cesar Mora. Nice slide in order to remain safe. So this game is dangerously close to getting out of hand. So San Francisco is going to call in Nathan Olivaldi to try to limit the damage a little bit more, but even he is going to have his struggles a little bit. A little base hit right up the gut. Ozzy Albies not able to catch up to it, unfortunately. So that does go ahead and make it a 7-1 lead. And we got a steal attempt here, and it's going to be safe. So Brandon Nimmo getting the RBI single, also getting the stolen base. And there's another runner in scoring position for Freddie Freeman, who does end up jumping on that opportunity as soon as possible. And it's now an 8-1 lead for LA. They want to force a game 5. They want postseason action. They want revenge against the San Francisco Seals, and they're, you know, a chance to really go ahead and make this a double-digit lead. Haven't really seen that yet in the postseason, but San Francisco, man, they only have 1 hit in this entire game so far. It was that solo shot, but they're finally starting to warm up here. In the top of the 5th inning, we see a hit get all the way out to the wall. That brings in 3 times as many runs as what was originally on the board for San Francisco. Makes it a 5-run game, and at this point, LA is also going to pull their starter early. This is Lewis Kuhn, who pitched quite a bit in that Game 3 appearance. He was credited with the loss, as that is going to end up being a ground rule double. And the Seals are clawing away. Ozzy Albies, chance to go ahead and add another run. Hit out into center field. Kyle Lewis does end up with a beat on that baseball, as that is a nice little throw, but not going to be in time, unfortunately. So, with that being said, a 3-run game. And Brian Anderson going to come up in here 8-5. Is now Anderson looking to keep San Francisco at bay, and that is an absolute no-doubter, and that is going to also leave the ballpark. Brian Anderson crushing that baseball. That ends up being 445 feet. It was an absolute moonshot, and the distance certainly lives up to that. Almost seeing a second home run here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as it gets another run into scoring position. That was Patrick Dwyer with that 2-base hit. As a couple batters later, Cesar Mora coming in 2 for 3. Here comes the 1-0 delivery from Nathan Olivaldi, and that should drop right in front of the right fielder, and that will make this a 10-5 game. So the Saints get another run. Their bats are blistering hot right now. Definitely a different tone from what we saw in games 1 through 3. As now John Curtis looking to clean up the mess a little bit, and he can't do it. So unless this is a great throw, this is going to be run number 11, and it's not. So LA with run number 11 makes it a 11-5 game right now. As we'll go ahead, jump into the bottom of the 6th inning. John Curtis is still in there, though. He's still getting some pitching action. Mike Troisky, he's going to get a nice hit, maybe. Unless this ends up being tracked down. Looks a little questionable. And, of course, play cannot be made. Josh Trubisky ends up getting a triple. So, now just 90 feet away once again. Is now Brian Anderson, 2 for 3, is going to go ahead, and he's going to get that sacrifice fly, and that will bring in Josh Trubisky home. That's the benefit of getting these triples. You don't need much in order to bring runs home, to manufacture runs. And LA is certainly manufacturing a ton of runs right now, as that is going to be 13-5. LA, I'm pretty sure this is as many runs as they have gotten in the first 3 games of this series. Not that they've been bad, but I mean, it's just been that kind of series, more of a defensive tone to it. And yet, here we are. That could have cleared the bases and make it 15-5. Instead, 14-5. Not that it necessarily matters, but Freddie Freeman with a chance to really bring the hammer home. But he's going to go ahead and ground outs, and that wraps up the bottom of the 6th inning. Damage is finally done, but the Seals with a lot of work to do if they want to get themselves into the NLCS and meet the Philadelphia Patriots, who they did play in the NLDS back in season number 1 and swept. So, something to definitely watch out for if that series does end up happening. Just the storylines that are naturally developing right in front of our eyes, seeing previous playoff teams play off against each other, rivalries forming. That's the beautiful part about these sim leagues, man. Just seeing the stories write themselves sometimes, as Ozzy Albies, he's going to strike out. So now here we are, 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. Nick Castellanos. We need to see some little Nicky Bangs action here to see San Francisco claw themselves back into this game. They're probably not going to get it all back at once, but a home run here would certainly help. This is not a home run, but that is a double off the wall. That brings in 1 run. Can it bring in a second? Yes, it does. 14-8 in favor of the LA Saints. But that's how you got to do it. Got to claw back into this thing slowly but surely. But here comes Nick Goody being called upon in order to slam the door. Top of the 9th, Castellanos back at the plate once again, as here comes the 2-2 pitch from Nick Goody. Got to protect the plate, but Castellanos misses. And LA is going to win game number 4, and that means we will see a game number 5 dropping on Thursday. And that will be a one-time thing to see who ends up moving on to the NLCS. LA remains alive. They go back to San Francisco. Anything can happen in a 9-inning game. So we'll move on to another game 4. The last game of this episode, by the way. Islanders come in 2-1. They have an opportunity to clinch and go to the ALCS in order to play against the upstart Boston Quakers. As we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Definitely a defensive game. It's almost like we saw the San Francisco-LA series and the Honolulu and Minnesota kind of switch for the time being. We've seen more runs in this series, I would think. But bottom of the 5th inning, we do finally see Garrett Cooper hit a home run. It's the first runs of the game. So they will end up taking a 2-0 lead as of right now. As we do also see Thad Gonzalez steal second. And Danny Duffy's going to come in. He pitched pretty valiantly earlier in the series. 4.1 innings pitched. 4.1 ERA. So only allowing 1 run an inning. Definitely not bad whatsoever. Actually, no. Less than that. You allowed 2 runs. If my mental math is correct. But anyways, Will Smith is at the plate here in the bottom of the 6th, and that's hit deep into right center field, and that's going to end up dropping as well. Could be a 3-0 game as Mike Trout tries to get it in, and it's not going to be remotely inside. So we will see the Minnesota Ducks now extend this thing out to a 3-0 lead. As now, Garrett Cooper, he's back at it again. Hit that home run back in the 5th inning. We're going to build off of that, as that is a gapper right in the right center field. Hits the wall, going for second base, and he will be in well in time. So another runner in scoring position. Mitch Heineker has to bring him home. Is he going to be able to get it done? Flare out in the center field. Garrett Cooper, he's going to try it, but not going to be in time. They don't attempt to throw home. And now it's going to be a 4-0 lead. Shadwong Jr. looking to add on to it. He's going to strike out. And no more runs will come across in the 7th inning. And still nothing for this Honolulu offense. They struggled a little bit in game number 3, but they find a way to win. Here in game 4, they're absolutely quiet right now. Justin Tapa, we're going to make sure that it stays a 4-0 lead. Will he be successful, or will Thad Gonzalez get things started and get some insurance like Allstate? Thad down left center field, and it's gone! Hitting the scoreboard, and Thad Gonzalez hits his second home run. It's a 5-0 lead. Will Smith, 0-2 count. He cannot reciprocate. It will remain a 5-0 lead, but that being said, Honolulu actually gets shut out. So Minnesota, they do end up winning game number 4. And this series is also going to be tied. So we will have San Francisco and Los Angeles dropping on Thursday. And then on Saturday, we will have the game 5 for this. That will decide who will be going to the ALCS. So definitely going to have a lot of USBL action to look forward to. Hope you've been enjoying the playoff series so far. If you did, make sure you go ahead, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you have to be brand new. I'll see you guys on Thursday for the game 5 of San Francisco and LA to decide who moves on to take on Philadelphia. And I'll also see you on Saturday for a premiere to see whoever goes to play the Boston Quakers in the ALCS. Will it be Minnesota or Honolulu? Let me know down in the comments. But with that being said, this is JohnJake Baseball on the mic signing off, but hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.